Straight on to business then. Asian markets pretty optimistic after bond yields eased and as Chinese shares as well have found a footing as well after recent steep falls on policy has really tightened worries. All eyes, of course, now on the US stimulus package, which is set to be approved later. But you can see there rises on the Shanghai Composite and the Nikkei, just slight drops on the Hang Seng and on the Kospi. Well, earlier we spoke to market analyst at FXTM Han Tan. He told us the markets are really waiting then for Joe Biden's stimulus plan to be passed later.
Now, I think that most of the optimism surrounding that stimulus package has already been priced into the markets, but this could be a double-edged sword, right? Because on one hand, yes, more fiscal stimulus can be seen to be positive for the U.S. economy, but it could also herald faster inflationary pressures or faster inflation. And when that happens, we could see the Fed actually tightening or hiking U.S. interest rates much earlier than expected. So that's a narrative that markets are contending with right now, hence the kind of volatility that we've seen in recent weeks.
Han Tan there at FXTM. Well, Joe Biden's plan aims, of course, to provide a lifeline for millions of American families and businesses, really jolting an economy. It's extremely hard by the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the city of New York is planning to use some of its money to create a taxi relief fund to help the city's cab drivers. Marios Sofos explains.
It's just a small chunk of the United States' $1.9 trillion stimulus package, but it will come as a relief for New York cabbies who've been thrown deeper into financial uncertainty by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Today, with stimulus funds, we're announcing the Taxi Medallion Owner Relief Fund, a new approach that will provide money directly to drivers.
The $65 million fund offers New York's yellow taxi owners a $20,000 loan to use as a down payment to restructure debts related to their permits and up to $9,000 in debt payment support. Many drivers took out loans to purchase their permits or medallions when values were high. Since 2013, though, the value of a taxi medallion has plummeted from $1 million to $200,000, leaving thousands of owner-drivers buried in debt. Uber and other taxi apps have taken much of the blame for the crash in the medallion market, while the pandemic has further dried up their customer base.
Many medallion owners are struggling. I have heard the pain in their voices, that they have had to choose between making debt payments or providing their families with a roof over their heads and food on the table.
President Biden's stimulus plan aims to protect businesses and households across the country. The legislation includes extension of more generous unemployment benefits, sending direct stimulus checks to struggling families, as well as allocating more money for the US vaccination program.